I'm Lori Rivera, abstract artist in Indiana, and I'm here today to show you how I created this, an abstract floral. And you can kind of see it's kind of crazy, kind of chaotic, lots of marks, lots of color. That's the way I like it. Lots of stuff going on. All right, so here's what I used today to create that. Here are the paints I used. Gesso for white titanium, instead of titanium white gesso, I used gesso. Cadmium Yellow Light, Quinacridone Magenta, Phthalo Blue Green shade. Nova Color also makes red shade, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I buy the green shade, and then Burnt Sienna. So those are the 5 colors I'm using. I buy my paints from Nova Color, novacolorpaint.com, or you can go to Blick and order them from Blick. But they're great. The viscosity is just perfect so that they'll pour right into these bottles. It's so perfect. These are just regular condiment bottles that I got off of Amazon, or you can get them through Nova Color. But the ones you get through Nova Color are a little bit smaller. I like the bigger ones that I get on Amazon. We'll also be using color shapers today. This is a 1-inch and this is a 2-inch. These are rubber silicone shapers, and they are a cross between, what I like to say, they're a cross between a paintbrush and a palette knife. So these are great. You can get wonderful texture with these, and they also help you loosen up. And let's see, what else are we using? We are using soft pastels today. In the very beginning of the painting, we'll be drawing on the canvas with those. And I think that's it. And paper towels. Oh, and I forgot, Posca markers, Posca pens, or Posca pens. We're using these today. So paints, canvas, color shapers, Posca pens, soft pastels, and paper towels. That's all you need. And a palette. You need a palette, like a plate if you have a plate, or I actually use glass on my large table. I have a large piece of glass, and I just pour the paint right on the glass, and then when it dries, I scrape it off with a scraper with one of these. So it's perfect for a never-ending palette. You can use glass, or there are lots of options, but just a paper plate is all you need. And then finally, make sure you wear old clothes or wear an apron to protect your nice clothes, and that's all you need. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I did was I toned my canvas with burnt sienna and a little bit of white to get that medium value in there. And now I am just scribbling in some lines and shapes with a soft pastel. This will kind of activate the canvas. That's what I call it. That's what a lot of artists call it, activating the canvas. That way you're not staring at a blank canvas with nothing on it. It just makes it a little less intimidating. So now I mixed some burnt sienna and phthalo blue together to get black. I mixed it in equal amounts. And I usually start out with a dark color with my florals. Get my shadows in there. Because, if you look at a vase of flowers, there are usually shadows in there from where the flowers are, pointing out and stuff. There's usually some dark areas, some shadows in there. So that's what I'm doing here, getting my shadows in there. And next, I will add some other colors, but for now, we're just getting shadows in there. Ignore my messy studio. I really do not clean up my studio for these videos. This is how I am. This is me. And yeah, I let myself be how I normally am in these videos. Nothing fancy. Okay, so now I've mixed another color here. Okay, I mixed some green. It's like a yellow green. I got that color by mixing some phthalo blue, a little bit of yellow, and some burnt sienna. And I think I even put some magenta in there to mute the color quite a bit. So it's like an olive green kind of. So I'm putting some leaves in here. You could consider this leaves, I guess, since they're green. So these are leaves. Just kind of putting them in random spots. There's no rhyme or reason when I create my abstract florals. I just do it. It's just kind of, you know, out of intuition. It's very intuitive. Like, I don't plan anything at all. And I think that's what makes them come out a little bit more unique, you know, when I don't plan them. It never fails. If I try to plan a floral, you know, like an abstract floral like I'm doing here, if I try to plan it, it just doesn't work. It's just very hard to get it to work right. So now I'm putting magenta in there. This is straight magenta. I did not mix it with anything else. So I'm just kind of putting some magenta in random spots. Once again, I do that with every color. This is how I always start out my florals. And you'll get better at this as time goes on. Just practice. Keep practicing, and it will come easier the more you do it. It'll feel really strange at first if you're used to planning everything out. If you're, you know, a realism painter, or if you are used to painting from photos, this is going to feel really unnatural at first. But if you practice a lot, you'll get it. It just may take a few times and a lot of practice. So I'm getting some yellow. And mixing a little bit of magenta in there to get an orangey color. And I got some of that dark color in there. I'm wiping it off so I don't contaminate my orange. Then I added some white to lighten it up a little bit. So now I'm just folding it in with my color shaper, folding it in into different spots. I'm not really liking these colors at the moment, but that's okay. I'll add more later. And once I get the first layer of paint on, once everything's covered up, I will let it dry. You can either let it air dry, or if you're impatient like me, you can use a hair dryer and dry it so that you can hurry up and start painting again. It's getting kind of messy here. As you can see, I dropped a bunch of that yellow on there, but that's okay. We're at the stage now where it really doesn't matter. We're just making a mess, kind of. It's kind of just all about making a mess at first and then going back and cleaning it up and flushing it out. So I'm getting some more yellow. And I'm knocking over my paint bottles. Got some phthalo blue there. And there I go, knocking them over again. And some white. I think I was getting ready to make some turquoise here. I love turquoise. That's my favorite color. Let me know what your favorite color is in the comments. Drop me a comment. And actually, if you have anything to say about this video, whether you like it, you don't like it, was it helpful, was it not helpful, just drop it in the comments. Let me know. So yeah, this is turquoise. I made this color by mixing phthalo blue, yellow, cadmium yellow light, and phthalo blue, and a little bit of white. That makes my favorite color of all time, turquoise. It's definitely my favorite color to make out of my standard color palette. And this palette I'm using, it's not titanium white. I use gesso in place of titanium white. And I use Cadmium Yellow Light, Quinacridone Magenta, Phthalo Blue, and Burnt Sienna. like I told you at the beginning. And what I wanted to say about this is that's pretty much my standard palette. I add and subtract colors as I feel like, sometimes. But for the most part, that is my standard palette. And I don't care if you use my palette, that's fine. You can use it if you want, or if you want to change it up and, subtract and add colors to make it your own, that's great too. And I'm using acrylic paint. These are from Nova Color. I'm using Nova Color paints. And I think their website is novacolorpaint.com. And yeah, something you want to do is you want your florals to go off the edge of the canvas, but not everywhere. Like maybe not in the corner. It probably doesn't look right coming off the edge in the corner. So see there in the top left, I kind of just left it open, and I have some more open areas on the right towards the top. So it's not going over the edge all over the canvas, just in certain spots. Now I'm using the big color shaper. I let this dry. And then I'm coming back and adding more color. So I let the first layer dry. I actually used a hair dryer on it because I was getting impatient. I wanted it to hurry up and dry. So anyway, I'm adding more orange. And see how I'm kind of trying to make some of the flowers bigger? Yeah, I'm trying to make some of them bigger so they're not all the same size. You want your flowers to be different sizes. Even in an abstract floral, you want them to be different sizes. If they all look the same, it's just boring. It's just not as exciting. So make them all different sizes. So there's a big one right there. I'm making these turquoise ones different sizes. Kind of putting them all around. There's another big one. And now I'm using magenta again. I love magenta. That's one of my favorite colors too. Probably turquoise and magenta are my favorite colors. Adding some white. Now I think I mixed phthalo blue and magenta together to get that dark purple. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a very, very dark purple that I'm putting on there. In case you haven't noticed, I'm recording the audio to this after I painted it. Sometimes it's just easier to record the audio after it's already painted rather than doing the talking as I go along. Then I can concentrate on the painting and not my talking. Sometimes it's just easier to do that. So yeah, so I have this magenta and phthalo blue that I mixed together for this dark, dark, dark purple. That's what I'm putting on there now. And as you can see, I'm kind of covering up some of the first layers of paint. Not all of them, but some of them. And I'm trying to make them different sizes. So there's a big one. These might just be dark flowers, or they probably wouldn't be shadows because they're kind of big to be shadows in there in the flowers. So I would say they're just dark flowers, I guess. I kind of, it's abstract, so it doesn't have to be realistic. You can have black flowers if you want. You can have, brown flowers. You have any color of flowers you want. Now I added some white. I added a tiny bit of that purple mixture to some white. And I have like a very, very, very light lavender here. And now I'm mixing that in to the painting. But yeah, just have fun with it. Don't think too hard. Don't overthink it. Just, just do it. Don't overthink it. All right, so now I'm adding some yellow, and that's actually straight yellow right there. I added a little bit of magenta. I ended up adding magenta to it to make it more orange. And I'm starting, at this point, I'm starting to like the way it looks. Actually, when we get to the end, you'll see what I did with it. But I kind of, in some ways, wish I would have stopped right here and just gotten the vase finished in the background and ran with it like this. But I didn't. I ended up adding more to it. And like I said, I kind of liked it better here than at the end. But that's okay. Sometimes, sometimes you overwork a piece, and that's just going to happen. Now I'm adding the vase. I'm going to make it a black and white striped vase. So I do is I do the edges first, and then put the stripes in. Stripes always look best in odd numbers. So as you can see here, I'm putting like 3 black lines. And then there will be 4 white ones. That's an even number, but in general, like as a general rule, things look best in odd numbers. And that goes for like maybe you're painting birds. Maybe 1 bird or 3 birds or 5 birds instead of 2 and 4, It really just depends. Now, rules are made to be broken. And I'm not saying that you have to follow this rule all the time, because sometimes you can break it and be fine, You can still have a good piece of art with an even number of items in it. It just varies. It just, varies from painting to painting. Every painting is unique. And, yeah. If you have an 11 by 14 canvas and are using one of these black easels, you can like rest it up there so you can get the bottom edge of the canvas like I just did. Okay, getting a paper towel, wiping off my color shaper. Getting some more white paint. This is my abstracts are my favorite thing to paint of all time, for sure. Definitely. I don't know. I'm not sure what I like better, like non-objective abstracts or things like abstract florals or abstract landscapes. I like them probably about the same. Maybe non-objective abstract art just a little bit more. Yeah, I would say non-objective abstracts are my top favorite out of everything. Now, they're even harder yet than like an abstract floral or an abstract landscape. Non-objective abstract art is very hard. I find it anyway to be the hardest of everything. It's just, painting something, shapes, colors, textures, lines out of nothing. Like it's just hard. At least with an abstract floral or an abstract landscape, you can picture that in your mind. You can picture a landscape or you can picture a floral and kind of run with that. But a non-objective abstract, there's no reference whatsoever. No reference. So you just kind of have to make it up as you go along and hope it turns out. Yeah, so... But yeah, I'm liking this the way it is. Like I said, I kind of wish I wouldn't have done more to it, but I did. I'm going to go ahead and show you everything I did to it just so you can see. You might like it better in the end than it is now. Everybody's different, So I'm getting my background in there, and I'm just putting a taupe color in there. I got this color by mixing phthalo blue, burnt sienna, and white. Just a little bit of phthalo blue, a little bit more burnt sienna, and a lot of white. Now I'm adding some yellow again. It looks like I added just a tiny bit of magenta to this. Now, I think what I was doing was adding a little bit of yellow on the right side because there wasn't really a whole lot over there. There was like more on the left, and it kind of felt unbalanced. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow in there on the right hand side. And it's always more interesting to off-center your vase of flowers. Now that's not, there's no hard and fast rule that says you have to, because by all means, I have painted tons and tons and tons of vases of flowers that are right in the middle. But even so, it is actually a little more interesting if it's off-centered. Now I'm using a Posca pen. I let it dry. I used the blow dryer and dried everything. And then now I'm taking Posca pens and drawing on the painting. I drew some leaves in there, and later on I'll go back over those in white because I decided the green wasn't showing up enough. But right now I'm just using green. Now I'm using turquoise and just putting some marks in there. Just random marks. Just to make it kind of more interesting. Now I'm going to use pink. This is kind of like a fluorescent pink. And my pink wasn't working very good, so I used it the best I could. But it really wasn't. I think that one's about shot. I need a new one. I really do like that pink, though. I really like it. That was my favorite color, and the blue, the aqua that I just used a few minutes ago. Those are my two favorites, and black and white, of course, too. Now I'm using white, putting some dots in there. Putting some dots over there, too. I should have stopped here pretty soon and just told myself to be done with it, but I kept going. I think I kind of overdid this one a little bit. I mean, I still like it in the end. It's just, I wish I would have stopped a little bit sooner. Now I'm using this yellow, and then I realized it wasn't showing up very good, so I didn't do a whole lot with it. Yeah, see, it wasn't showing up very good. But I'm starting to put circles in there. And I have white again. Now I'm going over those leaves. Remember, I told you I was going to go over the leaves because they weren't showing up very good. And these are just fun little leaves I drew in there. And I go over them even again later on to make them more prominent. Now I'm adding circles. Some of them I'm filling in, some of them I'm not. So you kind of want a variety there. And I'm trying to make them not so circular either. I'm trying to make them organic. But I can't wait to see what you create. Drop a link in the comments if you have a website or if you have a page where you have your florals that you've done after you've watched this video. I would love to see them. Now I'm taking blue. And I like that blue. That blue looks good on there. Making some little marks with it. I think I got some paint on the Posca pen. I think I just got it off. Yeah. Now I'm just making some little squiggly marks. Adding some interest with those Posca pens. I'm doing it in the top left. So I don't want everything going off the edge, but I think like the Posca pens, I think that's okay, you know, to go off on the edge, even in the corner. I think it's fine. You just don't want like the main bouquet going off in the corners. It just doesn't look right. I just don't think it looks right going off in the corners. Now I have that pink that's not working very good, but I tried to make it work anyway because I really do like that color. Now I think I'm grabbing another color. Let's see, I grabbed black. Now I think I'm putting the table in here. Yeah, putting the table in. And ideally, that probably would have looked better with paint than a Posca pen, because then I could have made the table against the wall kind of soft instead of hard-edged with like it is with the Posca pen. All those hard edges, you know, hard edges draw your eye in. They kind of steal the show. Hard edges steal the show. That's where your eye goes. And so that's why you see a lot of times with paintings and photographs and things, the focal point area will be hard edged and everything else will be softer, because you want your focal point to, you know, draw the attention in. So, of course, you would use harder edges for that. Now I have that green, and I just went wild with this green. I just put dots everywhere. And, you know, these could be like little, like greenery, can't think of the right term. Not green leaves, but, you know, the green parts of florals. I can't think of what they're called, but I think you probably know what I'm talking about. But I kind of went a little wild with this. Put them everywhere. Now I'm putting green dots. Like I said, I kind of went wild with this green. I put green dots all in the background. And, you know, in hindsight, it would have looked better if I would have put different sizes of dots. But maybe, you know, maybe this is wallpaper. Maybe it's wallpaper and that's the way the wallpaper is. Maybe it's just a bunch of equal dots. I'm putting green dots over on that side too. And I put them up at the top, I believe. Yeah, at the top too. Yeah, so maybe that's wallpaper. It's not looking too bad. So now I'm taking that dark blue and making some more lines with it. Just adding more interest. Putting some on the right side and the left. And putting some at the top also. Just all kinds of jagged, loopy lines. Now I am getting red. I don't think I put a whole lot of red in there. I think I just put a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit down there. And some dots. If I recall, I don't think I put a whole lot of red in there. Little lines. Lines there, lines there. I do like my florals to be very chaotic looking. Okay, so there we have it. There it is. That's what we created today. I would love to see your creation after you watch this video, what you come up with. Just drop it in the comments, a link to where I can see your work. That would be awesome. I can't wait to see what you do. And I'm also on Skillshare, Skillshare.com. I have videos on there. And if you join Skillshare, you not only have access to my videos, but thousands of other videos. So it's well worth what you pay for the membership. And you can also view my work on my website at LoriRiveraArt.com. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that little bell. Thanks.